Hi everyone, thank you very much for stopping by and returning to the old world. It's finally official, it's on Warhammer Community. The forces of the armies of Grand Cathay are on the march. The first wave of miniatures, the Arcane Journal, a load of stuff for the first truly brand new army to be released for Warhammer The Old World, and not just a refresh of something we've seen as part of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. We've seen various articles go up over the last few days telling us a little bit about the history of Cathay, the ideas behind the force, the interplay with the design team and Warhammer Total War 3. But what are we going to get? At least initially. First up, let's talk about the Arcane Journal. So we know that this was coming and we know it's going to be of the standard length. We're told that the Arcane Journal is going to be packed with new background, lore, and rules. We know that there's going to be unit profiles and upgrades to 18 new magic items and some new spell laws. Why is this particularly interesting? Well, in one of the articles that came to light last week, we were told that there's not going to be one but two Arcane Journals. Presumably this first one providing your Grand Army composition, the background, all that sort of stuff, with a second one to follow, which will have armies of infamy, etc. I think this is quite sensible. There was no way on earth that a brand new army to the game, and one which didn't really have the benefit of being part of the Forces of Fantasy or the Ravening Hordes books, would be able, within one very slim volume, to get everything it needed. So understand why there's going to be two books. Now, personally, I think I would have liked a one and done rather than having to make multiple purchases, but that doesn't seem to be the way Games Workshop are going. They like lots of little releases, and that is definitely what we're looking at here. Let's turn our attention now to the Grand Cathay Battalion. What are we getting? Well, we're seeing 30 Jade Warriors. This is going to be buildable either with hand weapons and shields or halberds. We're told there's enough parts to build 2 units of 15, 3 units of 10, obviously a unit of 30, I guess, all with full command. Now, one thing we're jumping into here, and it is something we're going to bounce into across this range, is that off the bat we know nothing about the rules from these armies. It's not like when other forces were released where we'd already got an idea of what things could do because of the Forces Fantasy book, the Ravening Hordes book, etc. This is all really new, and we also know that there's going to be the errata, the FAQ, the match play book all coming down the line, which are going to offer potentially quite significant changes to the way the game is played. So how good are these models going to be on the tabletop? It's unclear. Hand weapons, your shield, is that going to give you that +1 armor save? Halberds, are they going to give you that +2 to your AP on the charge? It's absolutely unclear. But what other models have we got in this set? Well, we've got 10 Jade Lancers. These are noted as being shot cavalry, so the equivalent of knights, and they're equipped with hand weapons, shield, and lances, so very much down the line of knights. Here it's going to be 2 units of 5 or a single unit of 10 with command options for each. We're also seeing 2 Cathayan Grand Cannons. So these can be built alternatively as rocket batteries. We're told each comes with 4 crew members, which includes an Ogre artillery crewman, which can be taken as an upgrade for both units. Not sure what advantage that would necessarily bring, and of course there is the usual transfers. Interestingly, there's a special note that says this box will be available while stocks last. What does this mean? Are we saying that this is only going to be available for a limited amount of time? Is it just a warning that they're expecting to sell out because there's a lot of interest in Grand Cathay? It's not sure. Again, it's a throwaway line which leads to that fear of missing out. I'm a bit disappointed that Games Workshop consistently go down the FOMO line, but again, it is what it is, and it is very much in the approach they take. Next up, we have Shenen Lord on Great Spirit Longma. This is a special character. By the looks of it, is noted as being one of the greatest generals of Grand Cathay, riding atop of the Great Spirit Longma. This is a new creature, I believe, based on the interviews that Games Workshop published last week, which they have created, inspired by all things Chinese, but not lifting directly from Chinese culture. This model looks really, really cool. If I'm honest, it looks like it's got the capacity to be an excellent centerpiece model, and I wonder, with a little bit of work, if other army generals might want to get on top of this. I could see, looking at the flow of the rider, etc., that this could very easily be a countdown model for high elves, for example. If you wanted a dragon that just looked a little bit different, putting it on the right sort of base, for example, I think a simple head swap and you'd be pretty much there. Yeah, very cool model. Very interesting look. Next up, we've got the Grand Masters of the Celestial Cities. These are experienced soldiers that lead the Jade Warriors. It's noted that they can, well, the kit has one on foot, one mounted, and they can be built as a battle standard bearer, and the other is equipped with the Celestial Blade and shield. Now, obviously, we don't know what a Celestial Blade does, but the fact that they can be the BSB marks these as hero level characters. Hero level combat characters, they don't see an awful lot of play as it stands beyond a battle standard bearer when it comes to Warhammer The Old World. So, are these kits going to be particularly helpful? Not entirely sure, but of course it's new shiny stuff. The aesthetic is absolutely lovely, so can see people wanting to get their hands on these. Next up, we've got the Sky Lantern, which is a multi-part plastic figure. Again, it just absolutely screams China, Japan to me. That Far East feel to it, which is absolutely what Cathay is going for here. Interestingly, this is noted as being used as both a mobile gun platform and a command center to scout enemies from on high. This feels like it could be very much a support unit to give buffs to other units, maybe to link in with your artillery, and we also can see that it can be equipped with iron hail guns, whatever they are, dragonfire bombs, long range crane guns. So interestingly, I think there's potential a variety of different ways this will end up being used. I'm quite interested to see what the rules are for this particular beast. Next up is the Cathayan Sentinel. This is the monster, I think, for the Grand Cathay Force. It is an earthen construct, so maybe we can draw a bit of reference to the constructs available to the Tomb Kings, for example, in how it might work. Very much a vibe, I think, of Terracotta Army. This is what I would expect people perhaps to be painting it up as, but again, it's very much going to be a watch this space, I think, to see how people use it, and in fact, whether it's any good and worth taking. We're also seeing, for Grand Cathay, the reference cards and dice set. I mention this every time that I don't really see huge values in these. I think the dice set are always overcosted for what they are, but I know for collectors it's something that they like. Reference cards are always handy, but again, I think it's something that you can easily make your own version of rather than having to splash out the cost charged by Games Workshop. Finally, also coming out, it's the match play guide. This is going to be something I think everyone playing the Old World is going to want to get their hands on. We're seeing the new scenarios. We're seeing thematic secondary objectives. I'm really interested to see what they are. The game is absolutely screaming out for better objective play, I think, and that alone will have a huge impact, or the potential impact, on army building. if we're seeing more take and hold objectives, if we're seeing different ways of winning the game other than just removing your opponent's models, that is absolutely a good thing. And I think that will really blend into the rumoured changes to the errata, which challenge Linehammer, which challenge some quite negative armies or armies built around one rampaging character. Will it also act as a buff for infantry? I really hope so. But only time will tell, and of course these releases, the pre-order is going to be so soon. I'm really excited, particularly around the match play guide. I know a lot of people down the club, they're really looking for Cathay. That's going to re-kickstart, re-energise their hobby collection for Warhammer The Old World. It's not the only thing going to pre-order for Games Workshop. We're also going to be seeing some Middle-earth stuff, some Black Library stuff. So there's always plenty of things coming up. But as always, main focus here today, those releases for the Old World. All that remains for me to say is thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope there's things that interest you here. And if you are excited about Cathay, let me know why, what you're looking to obtain. Interestingly, I think there might be some interesting spins you can do out of Cathay. In my head, I'm thinking Persia maybe. But we'll see. All that remains for me to say is thank you once again for listening. I am returned to the Old World. Have a great day.